We're glad to have you join us on another great episode of Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. I am Henry Igwibike. In a bit, we'll be going to our newspaper headlines to see what we have for you this morning, and after that will be our main conversation also for today. But we'll get everything all produced for you and just for you. Please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. With me today in the studios to do justice to our newspaper headlines is Mr. Cyril Abaku. He is a public affairs analyst and a commentator. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Henry.
To Enterprise Morning today.
Thank you.
All right, so quickly let's start off our newspaper headlines with the story on the Yoruba Nation cessation and agitation. And we have, in parts, Akintoye Igboho, Tinubu seek exit from Nigeria. And it has it as from premium times, that is. And it says, the Yoruba Self-Determination movement led by Banji Akintoye and Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, has written an open letter to President Bola Tinubu seeking a peaceful breakaway of the Yoruba people from Nigeria. It also says in the letter signed by Mr. Akintoye, Mr. Adeyemo, and Ola Ademola, the trio urged the president to establish a negotiation team with the group within the next 2 months and have a dialogue with them. This is coming days after suspected Yoruba Nation agitators attempted an invasion of the Oyo State Government Secretariat. Mr. Cyril.
Well, again, it's unfortunate that we have to come to this point in our national conversation. It looks much to me like a marriage in which husband and wife have to constantly remind themselves of how they met and how one person offended the other and how they've come to be married in spite of all the offenses. And if you keep reminding yourself of who you are, especially if the marriage was intertribal, if you have to keep reminding yourself of, you know, you are Igbo, you know I'm Yoruba, you know you're Hausa, you know I'm Fulani, like that. If you keep on doing that, it means you're not yet properly fused together. Because fusion means that you think less and less of your differences and think more and more of your commonalities, yes, of commonness. But as a country, even when we have on our coat of arms, unity and faith, peace and progress, I think that whatever unity we have today is forced unity.
Okay.
You can't force unity. There's a science to it, which means there's something you can do to achieve it. But you can't force it. Unity is negotiated. Unity is a conversation. But we're not there. I think that a lot of the challenges we have today are on a fresh canvas of post-Civil War Nigeria, in which the initial ancient, if you like, fissures we always had that led Ahmadu Bello to say, we have our differences, let's not shy away from them. Or what even made Awolowo to say that unlike the way other countries were Germans and Indians and so on, that Nigeria was not necessarily a country. It was just a geographical expression. But we lacked nationhood, we lacked nation as a people. No common language, no common values, no common ideology, no common worldview. The disparities were just too many. And so this is 2024. For a country that gained independence in 1960, this 2024, we are not even talking about secession based on maybe economic dynamics or any other issues. We're talking about the fact that we've not matured, that we've not grown, that the promise we held as a nation, as a country coming together has not materialized. So we now want to go back to our tribal enclaves, where we were before the white man came. Regardless of who is to blame, it just shows that the idea of country, of nation, Nigeria, that the other Nigeria has simply not worked. It has failed.
All right, so talking about maturity, a couple of days back, there was an invasion of the Oyo State, Secretariat, and the Igboho and the likes distanced themselves from that move. So why is it coming now that they have abruptly come
Well,
to...
who knows? Who knows?
Yes,
what Igboho said back after we had the invasion of the Oyo State Secretariat was that he wasn't behind that. I think
So how is that different from
the
what
feel.
the
I
letter,
mean,
the open
this
letter?
is civil.
Oh, okay.
This is civil. The feeling really is to say the public now becomes aghast and will say, if they were not even the ones behind.
Exactly.
So this is more serious than we thought it could ever be. The Yoruba, as we know them, are a very civil, organized, cultural group. Yes, that understands means and methods.
Yeah.
That are not brash and just open to taking any impulsive action. They are calculated. They are moderate, if you like, in temperament. They like to think things before they dive into. You could almost say they are not risk takers. They are, but it's not what it may not be the first thing they do.
Okay.
They like to think it through. So if even they are now the ones at the forefront of this kind of agitation, it tells you that we are now back to pre-colonial Nigeria, because before independence came, independence was almost only the idea of Nnamdi Azikiwe, who insisted and said, this idea of country will work, let's make it work. The Saradana and people were not very enamored of the idea. Even in the West, Awolowo was a bit cautious and suspicious. It was Zik who basically said, no, let's, and pushed it through. Of course, Zik was like a mentor to most of them. So that idea came to be. And so people felt again that in the First Republic, the Igbos had that upper hand, had that leeway, had everything. But after the Civil War, things changed. By the time Biafra came back into Nigeria, they were second fiddlers. Okay? And so the Southwesterners, or the Yoruba, put it nakedly, appear to now have had that upper hand in relating with the North and so on. I don't want to go into all of those very cherry-picking kind of sort of. But for a long time, it is the Igbo who have been crying out marginalization. But today, even the Southwesterners are now saying they are tired.
Now, talking about being tired and marginalization, don't you think it's somewhat disturbing that having their own son as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that this move is coming at the wrong time? Because what else are they looking for when one of their sons is in charge of the seat?
Obasanjo was president of Nigeria previously.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Southwest gained from him. Goodluck Jonathan was president of Nigeria. I'm not sure that our Southwesterners will benefit anything significant from him. In fact, from what we had, even the road in Otueki, his own village,
his own community,
was not tagged, was not fixed. Right?
Yeah.
The Fulani, as I speak, the Fulani as an ethnic group are very unhappy with Buhari.
Really?
Yes. You can find out. They are so angry with him because, one, they believe he wasted their 8 years. He doesn't even speak the language. That's a matter for another day. But the Fulani feel that Buhari went to Aso Rock and wasted the opportunity. Doing maximum time as
But
president.
he literally gave them everything they wanted, they occupied almost every
now,
position,
so when
position
it's
in
like
the country.
Tinubu is in Aso Rock and giving his Yoruba people a lot of appointments. But the question is, has that put a 3 square meter on the table of somebody in Ogbomoso, or in Akure, or in Oboku, or in Radbijo, anywhere like that? How do you judge that? Or even in Lagos. If you, in Oshodi, in Ojuelegba, have all the music certainly left this place because Tinubu became president? They have not.
All right, so let's feast from your knowledge of international politics. As part of the letter, it says here that the Nigerian federal government shall invite the United Nations, African Union, and the Economic Community of West African States to send observers to the negotiation meeting. Do you think in 2024, taking away a country out of a country is still possible?
Oh, of course it is. It is. You see, the idea, first of all, the idea of breakaway, sometimes, because the way we use the terms matters. Secession, breakaway, disintegration, all of these are terms you use in different circumstances.
Okay.
But a unit can desire to break out of a country if it feels that we've come together to live together and we've succeeded together. But we've now seen that we will even do better if we left. Okay?
Yeah.
It's like in business. People come together, do business together. If after a while, both of us as partners have become very strong, we can break off. There's nothing wrong with that. We can say, okay, you go your way, I go my way. We'll do much better that way. It's fine. It could also be that we've been together these 20 years and we have not made enough progress as we thought we would. Therefore, let's break away.
So you don't see any light in unity in diversity?
Well, unity in diversity is beautiful, it's a problem, but in the Nigerian case, has it worked?
It hasn't worked.
We are in a country where, Sheikh Adeyemo said this in his book, that, okay, in Nigeria, we've had only one Igbo, IG of police. Is it that there are no Igbos who are qualified? Let me also remind you, you know the first Yoruba man to be, look at now, see where we are today. I'm now trying to tell you how many Igbo have been, how many Yoruba have been this. The first Yoruba to be head of the army came through Obasanjo when he was military head of state. I think that was Alani Akintoye, right? After him, it was when Jonathan became president. He appointed an Igbo to be head of the army. Later on, he appointed another minority man to be head of the army. I'm talking of Iye Jidika and Kenneth Minima.
Yeah.
Buhari was there for how many years? How many Yoruba or Igbo did he appoint as head of the army? Tinubu has come. Suddenly, there is a Taurid Lagbaja who can be chief of minister. We didn't know about him before.
Exactly.
But under Buhari, we had Tukuru Buratai and the other man that was killed in a plane crash.
Yeah, exactly.
Ibrahim Atahiru, right?
Atahiru, yeah.
Believe me, if an Igbo man became president today, and he sent all these people going, you realize that there is an Igbo man that can be NSC, and that can be head of DSS, and that can be, so this is it. It was when Jonathan was, so all of this, under Yaradua, Sheikh Adeyemo claimed in his book that he was the one that forced him to appoint Ogbone Yonovo to be head of the police, and Bernard Shaw, I've forgotten the man's surname, Bernard Shaw to be head of customs or I think it was customs DG. All of this just goes to tell you that the way Nigeria is structured today, we are not even thriving on merit. That is the idea of the states. That the tribes can come together, lose a bit of their tribalism or tribalness,
identity,
and succeed as a group which is better than succeeding independently. But if that has failed, people naturally fall back to their tribes.
Very true.
That's what you're seeing today. The president, over and above being Yoruba, what is he proposing to make us a better state? I don't know if you have the answer to that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the truth of the matter still remains that I think, that the problem is not with us as a people, but possibly with those who are running, the affairs of the country. Well, if you ask me. So quickly, let's move on to our next daily. For today, we'll look at the Vanguard newspaper. And the big story here says, IGP kicks as ex-president of the back state police. And on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have Okwama Ewo. Help, we are dying in the forest. Displaced residents cry to the governor. And also we have on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, Coastal Superhighway Project Misplaced Priority. And that's coming from Peter Obi. Mr. Cyril, let's talk about the Coastal Superhighway. Like we've often said, other great nations, Dubai, they looked into the future and they asked themselves, how can we or how can the world see Dubai, the UAE, in the next 20 years? And they started investing today. So do you think there's anything bad in creating a monumental project that will serve the future? Even if Peter Obi is saying it is not the best thing for now, given our situation in Nigeria.
Well, the headline calls it Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway.
Yes, exactly.
Or Calabar Lagos Coastal Highway. And what we have today, what they're about to do now, is a Lagos Coastal Highway. Well,
is that a fact?
No, but they've said they want to be a pilot phase. That's what they said, pilot phase in Lagos.
Okay.
That will begin and end in Lagos. Which I suspect that after they've done that, then they will postpone with explanation until they won't do it. Because even this whole road idea came from Jonathan, they didn't do it. Buhari's 8 years scheme, they didn't do it. The whole idea had been all along that they will get a private contractor who will operate, who will build, operate, and then transfer to government. So later on, then after that, the Minister of Works, Umahi, came to a FEC meeting and said that they should release money for the road project. When they were now put on in the questioning box, suddenly they came out and said it will be counterpart joint funding. But the question is, there was no bidding to even pick the contractor first. the contractor is the president's business ally.
Yeah.
Number two, they've now said that government will provide about 13 to 15% or so. So they're not even sure how much they're going to be presenting. How much? So they would have finished doing the road before they announced that the government paid a certain amount of money to the contractor. That looks to me like a fraud.
Really?
How can you know how much you're giving the contractor? Even if you're not to give, first of all, is it build, operate, and transfer? Or is it government funding it? Because the money for this thing is not even in the budget.
So where do you think they're getting the more money from? Because of course
Henry,
they've said they have a private company
Henry,
that they have seated.
Henry, please don't, because I don't know the answer. So if the company was there, one, you didn't even bid. There was no bidding process. And number two, you said the company will fund the project. Now suddenly now you've changed it that you provide some funding and the company. Where do you really stand? It's all look, what I've said and which I say again is this. That coastal highway, they've already planned all the toll gates they're going to put on it, about 9 or so. And I want to make it 30,000 naira and so on. I don't think we need that kind. See, listen, we've never even seen the road and you're talking about tolling. See what I think we should do. What they did in Lagos, if you go from Bagada, Oshodi, going all the way to Mile 2,
Yeah.
they poured concrete, cement. They've, instead of tar, they've cement. Instead of using laterite and they use cement. Just poured it. It dries up very quickly. If you pour it now by mid-92, that been dry and can drive on it. Okay? Cement. That's what I think they should do. And they gave tax credit or tax holiday.
Yeah.
So select those that can do that kind of those roads for us across the country. There's a lot of food in Katsina and Benue. And yet, watermelon from Benue to Port Harcourt or to Lagos will be costing a fortune. Meanwhile, in Kano or in Katsina or in all those, in Benue, you could buy a whole bucket of mangoes for nothing.
Little to nothing. Yeah, very true. Very true.
So, but in Enugu, that's a mango coming from Benue. We know will be costing a fortune.
Very true.
Or even in Port Harcourt, it's just about 4 or 5 hours. Why is it? Because of the roads. So give people that you can give this. Let them do this. Let's have a proper road network around the country first.
Before we think about
super
highways.
Luxury project that will not lead anywhere. A highway that is going to begin and end in Lagos.
All right.
And it's going to begin and end where the president's business interests are located. How is that a national priority today? It is not. So let's not deceive ourselves.
All right, so while we think about that and digest that, also let's take a look at the issue of Okuama again. And help, we are dying in the forest, displaced residents cry to the governor. Of course, these people, of course, lined up at some point to vote for the governor. And right now they are crying upon him to come and save them. What do you think is possibly keeping the governor away from this issue?
That's it. You know, the governor himself was not allowed by the military to go to Kwama. The governor.
Constitutionally, is that right?
Know. When there's an order, what can the governor do? The governor is not protected by police, by army. The governor is protected by the DSS and police people.
But that's his community. If we get to talk about that.
Now that force has said you shouldn't go, what can you do about that? He ended in Bomadi. He couldn't go to. It was only some days ago we learned he had finally gone to Kwama. But people are dying in forests. The only thing I can say is these people of Okwama should just, this too shall pass. That's all I can say. You know, it shall pass too. That's the much I can say.
All right, so quickly let's move on to the next daily, and it's coming from the Daily Trust newspaper. And the big story here says IGP, of course, kicks against the Jonathan orders, Canvas State Police. And the bottom strip of the same newspaper, terrorism renews social contract with citizens. UN tells Nigeria and others. Tinubu blames ransom, illegal mining on the issue. On the top strip of the same newspaper, we have court vacates order affirming Ganduje's suspension. And Ondo APC primaries, 3 aspirants appeal against Ayedatiwa's victory. Mr. Cyril, let's talk about this issue of Ondo State. So a couple of days back, of course, we looked at it and the consequences of it and how this might end up as court cases and all. With what we have from the reports that happened during the primaries, do you think this would be an easy run for Ayedatiwa?
It could be. Now you see that even the likes of, what's his name, Jimoh Ibrahim, who who also contested. You know, he's been very quiet.
Yeah, exactly, true.
He's been quiet.
So what do you think is our means there?
No. The president already has enough to deal with in the north. There's a sitting deputy governor. There's a sitting governor in the state who naturally will succeed the governor and buy over the structure of the party. Okay? So if he has money to do all of that, why should the president fight him? In my view, the president will support him and make an ally out of him ahead of his own re-election. He won't pay the president to be fighting a sitting governor in order to oust him. I don't think it pays the president to do that much. Because in the end, even if he did that and another person became governor, it may lead to a splitting of loyalties in the state. So the president is better off supporting Aida Tiwa, having him so that he can deliver on those states to him. Is barefaced politics. I don't see any other excuse me.
All right. So finally, let's move on to our last daily for today. Is coming from This Day newspaper, and the big story here says Tinubu external funding fueling illegal mining and terrorism in Africa. And also we have on the top strip of the same newspaper, ex-British envoy urges Nigeria to reject IMF's projected low economic ranking. And also we have from the same newspaper, and in historic move, NAC transfer regulatory oversight to Enugu Electricity Commission. Mr. Bak, we have lots of interesting stories to digest here, but let's take a look at this signal from an ex-British envoy urging Nigerians to reject IMF's projected low economic ranking. Do you really think the IMF is doing more harm than good? Because with all of this advice and all coming from...
I don't blame the IMF. I have no... Go and check what the IMF has said about China over the years consistently. China is on its own path. When people say things about, look inwards now and check your own infrastructure and fix yourself, fix your economy. The IMF makes projections based on what they are seeing on the ground. Okay. A government has the power to change what's on the ground, to change the narrative. But are we doing that? If you won't do that, it's up to you. The IMF is not God. They only forecast based on what they see. But you can change the forecast if you do something different, if you do better. The problem with Nigeria is that we have ceded the power to determine our destiny to the IMF and other people like that. And the Paris Club, we've ceded our rights. Everywhere in the world, nations determine their destiny, but we have thrown that power away. We have said that is anything they said that we're going to do. It's unfortunate, but we shouldn't be there at all. Nigeria has the people, we have the manpower, we have the resources, we have the climate, we have the land, we have the means. I don't know what we are doing with what IMF said and didn't say. So until the IMF speaks, we cannot do anything. Is that really, even those who have followed the IMF very close, even Tinubu that's following the IMF very closely today, they don't do everything IMF tells them to do. It means every country has the power to determine its own destiny. But until you wake up to see that power within you, you will continue to be a groveler in the dust. It's a pity, but that's what we have to.
All right, please, in a split of a second before we leave, a high-level African counter-terrorism meeting in Abuja is still ongoing. Do you think this is going to be fruitful to counter terrorism in the sub-region and Africa in its entirety?
I won't, until I see the fruit thereof. I won't sit back and give them the clean bill of health because they're having a meeting. You know how many meetings they've held? And even recently, after you have 300 bandit warlords, the Ministry of Justice does not have enough money to prosecute terrorists because their budget was slashed by President Tinubu. You have kidnappings, as I'm talking to you now, 23 kidnapped in Kaduna, 40 in Katsina, 151 communities in Plateau, according to one press release I read yesterday, are under siege. The NS said the war on terror is improving. If that's what he's going to tell them at that conference, I should come on. I should believe that I'm not doing anything about it. I should believe him and also say that we're improving. Like Mohammed came and said that we had won the war technical on Boko Haram. That we are no longer going after soft targets. On his watch, Boko Haram attacked a prison in Abuja and took the members away. They didn't do anything about it till today. Well, the DSS said that they sent 44 intelligence alerts to say something like that was about to happen. I think the day has to come, people pay for their deeds in this country. Otherwise, there will be no justice served.
All right, so that's just about the time we have for our newspaper reviews today. We'd love to say thank you to Mr. Cyril Abaku for being part of our show today. When we return, Nigeria not ripe for state police, and that's coming from the Inspector General of Police, as he insists. That in a bit when we come back. Please don't go anywhere.